Well, good evening and welcome everyone to Blue Sunday here on the In the Blue Corner channel. Big warm welcome to you on this glorious day in Melbourne, Victoria. And it's a big warm welcome to a fresh face on the show. Well, he's been on the show a couple of times for a very brief appearance, but due to the fact that our usual controllers in the control room are out watching soccer matches tonight, we have Richard Rash Hussain all the way from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and he's going to be helping me with the show tonight. Rash, great to see you, mate. Thanks for doing this for us.
I'm glad to be on. As you know, I'm Mr. Backup Man these days, so I'm
Yes.
your 911 Rash. I need your help. So I'm happy to jump on and enjoying beautiful winter morning today. Well, afternoon, just early afternoon. We're at 23 degrees today. We're officially in winter, so which is really good.
Goodness
sunny,
me, 23 degrees in Dubai. I never would have thought. But
well, it's pretty cold.
That's great.
Might have to wear a jacket. Serious, it's actually getting a bit cold. No, it's that time of the year where a lot of the malls and the places where you go to have not adjusted their air conditioning, so it's actually really getting cold.
So you go shopping and you come back with frostbite.
Yeah, exactly. So, and just seeing here, a big hello to Sandra. This is regular. Talk to me about what we're doing today before, and what's the plan for the show today?
Okay, well, we've got so much to get through tonight on tonight's show, so we'd better not delay in starting to talk about the various sports that we cover every week. But we're going to cover a few new ones from now on as well, including we'll be touching on motor racing because we had the big Bathurst 1000 today at Bathurst in New South Wales, and what a fantastic race it was, action-packed all the way through, and a deserved winner as well. So we'll talk about
screen a little bit, if you can. Sorry, just a little bit lower. Yeah,
how
so we can see your nice Italian.
Can you see me now?
A bit more.
Well, I'm as close as I can get. I think. Is that better?
Good. It's good. That's perfect.
All right, I don't want the phone to fall over. So anyway, we'll be covering motor racing as well as our usual segments on cricket and golf and soccer. And we're also going to have a special guest with us today covering the harness racing because we've got the Inter-Dominion heats taking place. In fact, some of them are still taking place as we speak. And young Luke Humphries will be joining us in the second half of the show to cover what's happened with the heats and to also preview the final, which will take place next Saturday night at Menangle. So, but before we start covering all of that, predominantly we are a show about football, about AFL football and specifically Carlton Football Club. And, of course, we did have a little bit of news during the week with Carlton. First of all, we had the release of the AFLW fixture, which was very interesting, I thought. It's going to be a 10-week home and away series next year. And, of course, all of the other teams have got their teams in the competition now. The four that used to be missing, which was, I think, Hawthorn, Essendon, Sydney Swans, and there's one other I can't remember. They are now Port Adelaide, I think. They're also now with a team in the competition, so we'll start seeing all of the teams with a chance to win the premiership in the AFLW. So I just thought we'd touch on that. Plus, of course, we had an email sent out to us by the Carlton president, Luke Sayers,
Al Presidente,
espousing all of the financial achievements of the club over the last 12 months and in advance of our annual general meeting, which we haven't even been told about yet as far as what the date or time of that is. But no doubt that'll take place sometime in February next year. But they have arrived at the financials already. Why they can't hold an annual general meeting this side of Christmas, I don't know. We used to have them this side of Christmas, but now the club has made it in February over the last, well, certainly in recent years. It's held its AGM closer to the start of the new season. I'll I've got a few thoughts on why they do that,
Yeah,
but
I
I
know.
won't
Let's
go into
not
that
go
right
there
now.
yet. Big hello to Joe.
I won't go into that right now.
Hopefully, Joe is
Oh.
going to join us a little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
He's put a
yes,
nice-
there you go. DJ Rash is in the house, Joe. Yes, he is. If any of you are wondering what Rash does, he's one of the many talents he has is DJing parties. Do you want to tell us a little bit about all the different things that you've got your hand in there, Richard?
Well, doing a bit of DJing on the weekend, but I've been doing it for a long time. So that's the other passion aside from the Blue Boys.
You're holding plenty of parties and DJing those parties over there in Dubai?
Yeah, I have been for a long time.
Well, we look forward to seeing you back in Australia where you belong.
Absolutely.
All right,
let's
quickly cover the AFLW fixture for the Carlton women's team. It's quite interesting, really. The season starts on a Friday night, the very first Friday in January, as a matter of fact. So 7:15 p.m. on Friday, the 7th of January, will be the first match between St Kilda and Richmond. And that's at Skybus Stadium. I assume that's St Kilda's home ground there at Seaford. Is it Seaford? Yeah, I think it is
Moorabbin,
Seaford.
isn't it?
Or is it Moorabbin? I don't know. I don't know where they are anymore. So that's the first game. And then, of course, we've got the Carlton game taking place on the Sunday. I guess we always call every game against Collingwood a blockbuster. So they're calling it a blockbuster, Carlton versus Collingwood. Traditional rivals at Icon Park on a lovely Sunday afternoon on the 9th of January. Probably only be 40 to 45 degrees. How they expect the girls to play in the middle of summer, I don't know. But anyway, 4:10 p.m. If it is a hot day, good luck. Anyway, that's our first game for the year. Round 2. By the way, I mentioned those other new teams. They're not going to be starting in this year's competition by the looks of this. That'll be the following year. I think it's the following year. Because from what I can gather, there's only 7 games between 14 teams here. So, yeah, I must have got that wrong. Apologies for that. So the second round, Carlton will be playing the Brisbane Lions in Maroochydore on the Sunshine Coast on Saturday the 15th of January. So at 5:10 p.m. Melbourne time, 4:10 p.m. Queensland time. So that'll be an interstate trip for the girls. Probably be as humid as you can imagine in the middle of January, in the middle of the rain season up there in Queensland. So that'll be an interesting challenge. I love Maroochydore too. I love the Sunshine Coast. Yeah,
beautiful.
It is fabulous there. Maroochydore, Mooloolaba. You might as well go up there, watch the girls play football, and stay for a week. Mind you, it's probably the worst time of year to be going there. I'd rather stay in Melbourne and catch our 40-degree days here. Anyway, the third round is going to be against the Western Bulldogs. This is the traditional Pride round game, Rash. This will be on Sunday, the 23rd of January at the Whitten Oval. That's a Bulldogs home game at 3:10 p.m. in the afternoon. So that'll no doubt bring all of the people that like to celebrate that. Round 4 will be against North Melbourne. Now, I think this is the first time we'll be playing the North Melbourne girls at Icon Park. So this is early on a Sunday at 1:10 p.m. on Sunday, the 30th of January. So that'll be a good game. Round 5, we'll see Carlton have another home game on a Sunday afternoon, this time at 3:10 p.m. on the 6th of February against the Adelaide Crows, who are traditionally a very strong team and have made many grand finals and won a couple of premierships, I think. So they won't be an easy beat, that's for sure. So that's on Sunday, the 6th of February. Then the girls jump on a plane again and head off to Perth this time and take on the Fremantle Dockers at the Fremantle Oval. Now, this is on a Saturday night, the 12th of February, at 7:10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which will be 4:10 in the afternoon over there in WA. So it'll be in the evening here, but it'll be certainly a day game, that's for sure, over there in Fremantle. Our seventh round will be against St Kilda back here at Icon Park on a Saturday afternoon at 5:10 p.m. or a Saturday evening almost time slot. Late in the afternoon anyway, in February, Saturday the 19th. Round 8 out of our 10 rounds will be against the Giants, the GWS Giants, over at Manuka Oval in Canberra. So for those of you who want to go and protest against a few politicians while you're up there,
Why not?
head to Canberra and watch Carlton play the GWS Giants at Manuka Oval. That's on Friday. That's our only Friday night game at 7:10 p.m. On Friday the 25th. Then round 9, the date and time of this game is yet to be confirmed, but it will be against the Gold Coast Suns. So that will be our round 9 game. So none of the round 9 games have actually been scheduled in terms of the actual day or time, and even the venue. But they have released
Victoria.
Yeah, well, it's a Carlton home game, so you'd expect it to be in Melbourne. But we don't know yet what day and time it'll be. But they can tell us that we will be playing the Gold Coast Suns that particular round. And round 10 is against Melbourne. And Melbourne, it'll be a Melbourne home game again at a date and at a time yet to be confirmed. That'll be the day that we see the Carlton girls take on Taylor Harris, who used to be, I guess, a pin-up girl at the Carlton girls in the Carlton girls team, and now she's off to Melbourne. So that'll be an interesting game to finish off the home and away season. And with any luck, they'll have won enough games to play finals. And the finals, we don't know yet exactly what the format or which days and times. So we'll go into that once we know more. But certainly a good fixture. There's a good mixture of games and teams that we'll be playing. There's no easy games in the AFLW. So we wish the girls all the best, and the season gets going in the first weekend of January.
Can I ask you, what's the woman's name that plays for Carlton? Was number 3?
Darcy Vescio. Yeah, Darcy.
She's not with us anymore?
No, she is. Of course she is.
Oh,
absolutely. No, Darcy Vescio is still with us. And, of course, Maddie Prasparkas, that little pocket rocket that she is, a real ball magnet that she is, she's still with us. And, of course, we've got, a star-studded lineup. We've brought in some new players. We've also lost a few players. Katie Loyne's probably been the most important one.
Just excuse my ignorance on it, but what's the deal with them? It seems like they trade – like from team to team a lot more than the men's, high-profile players.
Well, it's a good observation. I think there has been a bit of movement, hasn't there? I mean, we've seen the last couple of years we've lost, I guess, the Hosking twins, both to Richmond, both in separate years. First, Sarah Hosking went to Richmond last year, and now Jess Hosking's going this year. So that was an unusual one. That request from Jess Hosking was made very late in the trade period, almost at the 11th hour, you'd call it. But she's off to join her sister at Richmond. We've seen Taylor Harris leave and go to Melbourne. That's going to be her third club now, because she started with Brisbane. Then she came to Carlton. Now she's off to Melbourne. So there is a fair bit of movement in the women's league. You're right. I'm not sure why, but maybe the girls are not frightened to say if they're not happy, they want to move. Then again, maybe there's more opportunity for movement. Maybe that's the reason why.
It's relatively, anyway, I mean, it's a new competition and stuff, so,
of course. Yeah.
All righty.
Well, we wish them all the best. So that'll be good to get some footy back at AFLW level in early January, a good 2.5 months before we start with the men's competition. In fact, by the time the girls finish their last round of games, which, as I said, was in March, That was the what was it? Just trying to see here. That'll be March. What? Second week of March, around about the I think around about the long weekend. I think it'll be the long weekend in March. So that's roughly
F1?
when the men's competition will start 3 or 4 days after that long weekend. So I think they're having
F1.
Yeah, that's true. But I think you'll also find that there's going to be 10 games in a row, culminating with AFLW and the start of the men's competition, all joined up into 10 consecutive days of football.
Wow!
So that should be a real satisfying experience for those football-starved fans who have been waiting to watch a lot of footy.
Excellent.
So anyway,
right.
That's that. So yeah, we'll touch on the letter that Luke Sayers sent during the week. Of course,
we're going to get Rocco on also. We'll get Rocco on.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, well, it's great to have Rocco Stanitti from the Jumper Punch program. Very popular show that nearly every Carlton supporter I know knows about.
That's a great show.
should if you haven't heard about it, you'd be crazy not to start watching the Jumper Punch. In fact, I think he's even got a Christmas special coming up in the next week or two. So let's get Rocco on if he's available.
On that. Yeah,
is he there? Is he ready to come on?
I'll just send him a message because he did say.
Oh, you're sending him a message, right?
Yeah.
I thought you had him ready to go.
No.
Well, I'll touch on this letter while you're getting Rocco on. This letter from the club says that that they are pleased to announce a net operating profit of $1,282,346 for 2021. And that's up on the operating break-even result achieved in 2020 of 34,639. So somehow we've managed to make an extra $1.25 million this year. Not
in
sure
a COVID
how,
year, which is amazing.
Yeah. Well, yes. The operating result has contributed to us declaring a statutory net profit position of $20,257,000 for the year ended 31st of October 21.
So explain that.
Importantly, the reason why it's 20 million is it is inclusive of government grants and philanthropic contributions, which for those of you who are not sure what that means, donations from people who are prepared to give the club money, their own money or their company's money, towards the Icon Park redevelopment, which has now surpassed 50% completion. Now, 15 million of that would be government grants, for sure, at least. Now, this says that the outstanding result has been achieved in a year where the impacts of COVID-19 have once again been felt across society and the industry, resulting in the club playing 3 home games behind closed doors, in other words, with no crowd, and the 4th home game being moved interstate, and that was the West Coast game that we were meant to play here at the MCG, but we had shifted to the Sydney Cricket Ground. As a result of these continued impacts of COVID-19, the club's revenue from operating activities was down 13% from pre-COVID-19 results in 2019. However, the club continued to navigate its way through these challenges and was able to accomplish arguably the most significant off-field achievement of the last 25 years, says this email. In January 2021, that's now almost a year ago, with significant thanks to the fantastic support of Carlton members and key stakeholders, the club was able to eliminate its remaining $4 million of historical debt, ensuring the Carlton Football Club is now debt-free for the first time since 1996.
Wow.
That's a very big statement. And it'll be interesting to find out the details on how exactly that has been achieved to eliminate $4 million of historical debt this year together with what they claim they removed before that, when you haven't actually achieved profit results of that much.
Well, they're saying that the operating was down. So what they usually do pre-COVID, it was down, whatever you said.
Mm-hmm.
But that's got to do with donations and stuff. So, but the main thing is that the debt's gone, regardless.
Yeah, it would appear so. It would appear so. I would be very interested to get down to the bottom of the figures and look for what I refer to as the devil, because the devil is always in the detail.
Oh, God.
Anyway, call me.
But the objective is there.
Call me a cynic, or call me apprehensive, or call me skeptical. But I think there must be more to this than meets the eye. Anyway, I'm just reading from the email. Now, the club's membership base continued to lead the way towards this landmark milestone, which, despite the restrictions imposed on game day attendance throughout the entire 2020 and 2021 AFL seasons, our membership grew 21%. Can you believe it, Richard? All these people that have jumped on and become members, even though they can't go to a game.
Even though we sacked the coach.
And it grew 21% to reach 81,302 people, a record high for an incredible sixth consecutive year. Now, what do you think caused this to achieve a 21% increase in a COVID year that you know is going to be interrupted by games being shifted and games being held without a crowd? How do you achieve something like that?
I think our friend, old friend, Mr. Kane Little, would have been doing his magic with buy one get one free, and in my opinion, and
why don't they mention this in the letter? Why don't they say, thanks to a campaign where we offered memberships for nothing, we were able to grow our membership by 21%. Why don't they tell us that?
Because it's all in the marketing, my friend. That's why. So you've got to be clever with your marketing, and it creates confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the guy that likes to have details, and which is fair enough. But from a marketing perspective, it sounds better.
Listen, a 12-year-old kid can write to 60,000 Carlton members and offer them a free membership to anyone that they want to give it to, right? And increase the membership base to 80,000. Anyone can do that. Anybody at all. The question is, what's the revenue achieved from that? Zero. How many of those people are going to rejoin after having it for nothing for this year?
Well, the pudding is this year. What they if they're going to get 60 or 80, they've got a big challenge ahead of themselves if they want.
Let's call a spade, Rash. Anyone can espouse a wonderful membership result of 81,000, growing by over 20% this year, despite COVID and restricted crowds and games being shifted and all the rest of it. They only did that because they were giving them away. And how they actually not admit to this and continue to expect the Carlton members to believe all of this tripe is beyond me. I mean, it is just taking you for a fool. It really is. It's an insult to everyone's intelligence. But anyway.
Let's not get into numbers and fudging, because then I'll start talking about vaccination rates. But anyway, let's go.
Well, there's another thing. No, I won't.
I don't want to open up. But hey, Vince, quick thing. I just got to tell you, we've got a special guest. I think he's a wicket keeper playing for the Australian team. That we're going to get him to join in a moment. Just when you finish, we'll get him in. He's in the back room. Yeah, he's in the back room.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I won't go through most of the rest of it.
Can we get him in?
There was a welcoming. Hang on, just give me 2 minutes. We also welcomed the new co-major partner, Great Southern Bank, during the year. It says here the club's non-traditional revenue streams, Carlton in Business and Carlton College of Sport, continued their growth with revenues up 75% in just 12 months. Exactly what that means, I don't know. That could have gone up from, $100 to $175, but,
Correct.
75% means 75%. Obviously,
Creative
the
accounting
Icon Park redevelopment has continued. They've completed stage 1, and stage 2 is now well underway. So, I guess, the statement here that the Carlton Football Club is debt-free for the first time in 26 years. And this is an exceptional achievement of which we should all be proud. I would like to get into the nitty-gritty of how that has been achieved, and I'll report back once I get down to the bottom of it.
I'm sure you will.
All right. Now, I know Steve will want to have a few comments and ask a few questions about this stuff as well, and he'll probably do that next week. All right. So who have we got, Rash?
We've got let him put it into the big screen here. I'm not sure. Someone has just. The man from the jumper punch.
There he is. There he is.
Guys.
Now that looks like Rock. Is that Rocco? Is that Rocco Gilchrist or Rocco Payne or
maybe Rocco Coley?
Maybe Rocco, the birthday boy.
And
How's it
yes,
going,
a
birthday
very happy birthday to Rocco. It was his birthday on Friday, and
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
mate,
guys.
you really do not look 65. I've got.
Well, it's all about what they say. You're only as old as the woman you feel. So
that's right. So it's nice to have your 25th birthday, isn't it?
I think it's got to do with all the pasta and ravioli and those creams that you use.
Rocco's doing better than anyone else I know at the age of 51. So well done, mate.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
unfortunately,
guys.
he didn't get to celebrate his 50th all that much last year on his.
No, I did. I had a party last year.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because we were out of lockdown for about 2 or 3 weeks, so I got a party in there or something, and then back in.
Very good.
Nah,
Rocco,
all good, man.
Good to have you on the
Rocco.
show. Just before we get started on our next segment, tell us what's happening with the jumper punch for those that are watching. And you've got something special coming up.
All right. So on the 14th, there will be a Christmas special. Boys are getting back together before Christmas, and we're just going to go over the year that was on the jumper punch, and we're just going to watch some highlights and have a bit of a chat and just a general just catch up and a bit of a Christmas kind of feel for the year to finish. And then, we a little bit of a break, and then we're back next year on March the 15th, because I think we play the 17th. Is that correct?
I believe so. In fact, we're not going to start the season next year, Rocco, Carlton. You know that? They announced during the week that it's not going to be a Carlton-Richmond start. It's actually going to be on a Wednesday night between the two grand final teams, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. So, and that'll be on the Wednesday, the 16th. So I still think we're going to be playing on the Thursday.
Yeah, it's still a Thursday.
Which
I think it's
17th.
a good thing. I think it's a good thing. We take some pressure off us a little bit, have the first game over, and then I think it might be it might help us out. We need all the help we can. I don't care what anyone says. We still need all the help we can on that round one. But so
hopefully
I
we
think
can
it's a
win
good
one.
thing.
It's been a while since
What's
we've
that?
won that. It's been a while since we've won an opener.
I think the last time we won, did Ben Cousins do his hamstring?
No. We've won one since then. But I can tell you for a fact, boys.
What year was it?
It was 2012 that we won not only round 1, but we won round 2 and round 3 as well. And then we got a few injuries against a side called Essendon that absolutely ran through us like brick walls. And then the whole season turned to after that. But 2012. So by the time we play our first round against Richmond in 2022, it'll have been 10 years since we last won not only a round one game, but even round two. So we've lost the first 2 rounds of every season over the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's going to be a big.
Might as well
big,
take a holiday.
What a disadvantage, eh? It's like starting a race with a 20-metre handicap.
Yeah, and Richmond have been in those 8 years or so. I mean, Richmond's been one of the form sides. Even when it wasn't winning premierships, it was doing okay, So it's been a tough start for us every year. But if we want to do something, man, we've got to win those games. It doesn't matter if it's round 1 or round 5, we've got to win those games. And I heard we might have Melbourne in round 2. So it's going to be it's going to be a tough start. So it's going to be tough. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Well, it's a new year, but I have a question for you, Rocco, just before we finish up on the jumper punch. Will Santa Claus make an appearance?
I reckon there might be a couple of reindeers and a couple of Santa Claus might make an appearance. We've got something for the kiddies. So
are you going to give us any more info on the jumper punch? So tell us again. So jumper punch on the 14th?
On the 14th, which is Tuesday week, I think that will be.
Yep,
and
that's right.
And as I said, it's just a get together. We'll get together. What's that?
8 o'clock. 8
Same
o'clock
time?
Tuesday.
8 o'clock Tuesday. Yep, same bat time, same bat channel. And as I said, it's just a get together. Let's all get together on the Tuesday night. Let's have a little bit of it's going to be so. I don't think we want it to be like talking about what's happened to Carlton during the trade. It's more about just having a bit of a good time before the year ends, because trust me, there's going to be
a nice light-hearted finish to the year.
A nice light-hearted finish. Look, there's plenty to talk about Carlton next year, so we're just going to be a light-hearted look back. There's been some funny moments on the jumper punch. Let's have some guests. You've been a guest on there. We're going to go through all that.
Great.
The show went well during the year. We got bigger and bigger. We had some good segments. Our segment was a hit, and we got some plans for next year, haven't we, Vince?
Yes, we have. Talking Blue with Rocco and Vince.
Yeah.
It'll be even bigger and better next year. But that was a great thrill. I've got to say thank you for inviting me to be part of your show, and I thoroughly enjoyed looking back down memory lane at some of the great highlights of Carlton moments, Carlton games, Carlton people, Carlton players, of course, and we'll continue to try and bring a bit of nostalgia to the show next year.
Definitely.
Well, hopefully I can get an invite. Yeah,
I was going to say, because the little birdie told me you might be flying down next year, so
I am. I should be there in Jan. So
everyone look out. There might be a special guest with some special things happening. That's it. That's it.
Special tricks.
Some special tricks on the night. So so it's going to be a big year, and so hopefully as a Carlton family we have a big year next year. So hopefully it's all up. Up and away next year. Yeah, but
all right.
In the meantime, before we get stuck into football and AFL and Carlton, we've also got you to come on to talk another sport that you love and have had the involvement with over the years is the sport of cricket.
Mate, there's only 2 sports in Australia. I know you talk about the other sports, soccer and all that, but let's be serious, right? When you live in Australia, there's football and then there's cricket. And you remember, you guys were about all the same age. That's how it was, wasn't it? You had football.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then during summer, soon as that grand final finished, you got that bat out, you got the ball out, you put those stumps on the road, and we started to play cricket. Is that correct? And
of course.
Seriously, how good was the cricket in the 80s? Those days, Viv Richards and Malcolm Marshall, the West Indies. And
the West Indies were a great. So I've still got mates now who still follow West Indies over Australia. That's how much of an influence they had in the 80s. And I remember our test sides those days, we used to, if we got a victory out of West Indies, it was like winning a premiership, man. We were up against, mate, that seriously, I know Australia's had some good sides, and we had the test sides with Warney and McGrath, and we've had all that, Ponting. We've had some great players. But, mate, that West Indies of the 80s, mate, it'd be hard to argue that they're not the best ever. They just, there were stars all around. So, yeah, that was
absolutely. Yeah. Who could ever forget the opening batsman, Gordon Greenidge and Desmond Haynes? They would have to have been the two best opening batsmen and the best team of all time at the top of the order. And then Viv Richards coming in third, the Master Blaster, and
Clive
Lloyd. The big cat, Clive Lloyd. He was a cool dude, wasn't he? You would have loved him.
The bowling. They were all cool. Joel Garner.
The bowling was the
Malcolm Marshall.
Absolute,
Marshall.
Yeah, pinnacle. Malcolm Marshall. But not only Malcolm Marshall, there was Andy Roberts, Michael Holding, Joel Garner, Malcolm Marshall, Colin Croft. These guys used to just, take wickets
one
at
after
will.
the other. Like there was, it was relentless. Like you'd get two, you'd have one on either side, and then they'd change, and Joel Garner would come on, and you go, gee, or Michael Holding. Nah, they were a great side, but we had our own, and then we slowly took over in the 80s, and I suppose we haven't looked back since. And you know what? The West Indies were a bit like what's a band that you should know? What's a band that
Ask the DJ. Ask the DJ.
What was that girl that sang? She had that hit record in the 90s. Alanis Morissette.
Oh
yeah.
They're the Alanis Morissette. They had one big hit, one big hit album in them, and that was it. Like since then, really, West Indies have done nothing. You know what I mean? So,
well, of course, after a lot of those guys from the 70s and 80s retired, then you had the Richie Richardsons, and of course, Curtly Ambrose became the main bowler with Courtney Walsh, and these are the guys that took over. Brian Lara. Yeah, another
best
one,
batsman
Brian
ever, you know.
But they weren't quite the dominant team, were they? That the previous guys were under Clive Lloyd.
You had great players coming through, but they had a great team. Like it was just relentless. They put together the islands there. What do you call the islands? The Caribbean islands.
Yeah, of course. Caribbean.
They got them all. They just found these just gems.
Jamaica, Barbados, and all of them.
And the thing was, and they still do, mate, they have a good time. I've always said I want to do it. There's two tours I want to do. Naturally, the Ashes, but I'd love to do a West Indies tour. Hey, that'll be
Wouldn't that be awesome, mate? Going to the West Indies boys, and watching cricket.
This, for those viewers who are watching, this is typical Italian guys when they get together don't stop talking. So this is good. Let's give it the segue.
All right.
Lebanese guy coming here, the segue, and tell us about the cricket and what news you've got for us. Rocco Richie Richardson.
I've got no news. At the end of the day, like we start on Thursday, I think it's the Brisbane match. This is what we're all been waiting for. This is the Ashes. At the end of the day, we can talk about everyone, but it's England and Australia, and that's it. That's all that matters. Anyone else that watches the T20, your 50s, please, yous are all a joke. You've got no idea. This is what it's all about. It's about the test match. Anyone that says, it's boring, whatever, you've got no idea about the game of cricket, man. I can sit down and watch a 5-day Australian test match every day of the week, man. I love it. There's a game within a game, every session, every hour. And playing England is huge. And I think this year, what I've been looking at the teams, they're pretty even. I don't think the Australian team, it's all right. They had to make a few changes. We can go into the Payne thing. Like the Payne thing, that was another thing it's amazing. He was the test captain, and now he's not even in the side. That's amazing, first of all. But there's a lot more to that. So they had to make some changes. So they brought in Carey.
Are you happy with the replacement?
I think so. I think he was the only one that could come in, and I think he's had his
apprenticeship.
And now it's time for him to think. And I think Payne, it wouldn't have been long before someone was going to replace him anyway, you know. So
Sure.
I think Kerry's definitely a good glovesman. He can keep the kid, you know. And
Yeah.
but the thing
Yeah.
about him is, I think he averages about 30.
Okay.
But he can change a game. So where Payne was more, I can block my way to 30 runs, I reckon Carey can change the game. So it's exciting to see the young kid come in, definitely. And he used to play AFL football, didn't he?
Yeah. His
Not
brother
sure about
Wayne
that.
wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding.
Well, that's it. Why, Kerry?
No, look,
That's
I
it.
think Kerry was a good choice to replace.
I think so.
I guess Tom will tell. What about the choice of captain, Rocco? Are you happy with them going with a bowler and Pat Cummins and Steve Smith being the vice, or would you have given it to someone else?
I would have given it to Steve Smith. What's wrong with Australia? What's wrong with the selection panel? What is the matter with you guys, mate? Like, he's done his time, mate. He's the best captain that Australia have got. They just should have. How good would it have been for Australia to sit up there and go, right, he's done his time, he's come back, he's proven himself. You know, it's time to give him back the captaincy, man. Everyone deserves a second, a third, and even a fourth chance. Come on, he didn't do nothing that bad that they can't. What is wrong with him? So is Cummings a good captain? We won't know. We won't know if he's a good captain. Do I think that a fast bowler should be a captain? No, man. Like, a fast bowler has got a lot to do. He's got a lot of responsibility. And he comes in, does he put himself on? Does he take himself off? You know, I think it should have been Smith. If they wanted to make him vice, they should have. But in saying that, he is captain now, and he's a great player, and he is a leader. So at the end of the day, yeah. And they've got, look, Smith's going to be right next to him. He's vice captain. They got Warner there who sits there and he helps out a lot. So, look, I think between all of them, they'll get the job done. Yeah.
So do you think
Hey,
the Aussies
there's a
will be too
comment
good
here.
for England?
What's that?
Do you think the Aussies will be too good for England? What's your prediction for the five Test series?
I can't see England making a score. Like, who's gonna make their score? You got Root, right? Who else you got? You got that Stokes, maybe. Outside of them, do you see anyone? If we bowl at our capacity, like the way we should, Stark's a little bit of worry. He can be maybe. Anyway, I think he should start the test. I don't know if he's going to play all five, but if we bowl to our best, I can't see him making a score. I can't see him making a score.
So you think it'll be our bowling attack that'll be too powerful for them?
100%. Like, you get Cummings and Hazelwood. Seriously, they got to be two of the best going around.
Yeah. Throw in Stark and the spinners.
And the spinners, yeah.
Like
so
Nathan Lyon will get his fair share.
Nathan Lyon hasn't had the best last year, you know, but I think he'll do the job. They're not a great England aren't a great team at the moment, so I can't really see him do anything. I'm looking at maybe a 3-1 or something. Maybe they'll pull out a draw. Look, with our batting too, they had to make some choices here. They picked Harris. I don't know if that's a great choice. If you look at his average, it's 23 as an opening batsman.
Yeah.
It's not strong, you know, so they could have maybe gone with what's his name? Who's the other bloke?
Which state does he play for?
Oh, what's his name? The 34-year-old. He used to be in our side. I've forgotten his name now.
You mean Joe Burns?
No, well, not Joe Burns. He's the other bloke. He comes from Pakistan or Indian or.
Oh, you mean Usman Khawaja?
Yes, sorry, I just went blank.
Well, they have brought Khawaja back into the team.
He's back into the team.
But they're not playing him as an opener.
Well, no, but you could have put him as an opener, and maybe, well, it was between him and Head that made the team, wasn't it? So they
chose Khawaja.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
You sure? I think Head's in, sir.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. I thought
Yeah,
that they were,
Trailheads made the
I
side.
could be
yes.
I could be misinformed there. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, so Travis Head's got the nod.
Yeah, so he's got the hot. So
Pardon
that's
the
fair
pun.
enough.
The head
He's
got the nod.
Yeah. So he's got the nod. Yeah. So
got
look,
the-
with the lineup, you got Dave Warner. You know Dave Warner. If he doesn't make a start, we're in
He's
trouble.
in trouble.
Yeah, he's in trouble, and that's the way it's always been. And then you got I don't trust Harris at all. Like I'm telling you, man, I have no faith in that. But and then we've got Marnus now. He's a star, and then you got Marnus and Steve Smith to come in. So they're the two. They've shown it time and time again. They get us out of trouble every single time. If they go out cheaply, well, then I think we're in trouble again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Do you know who used to be a player that used to get us out of trouble all the time? Do you remember Bevan?
Oh, I just love Bevan. Do you remember that? He was the best in the one days. Remember that four?
No,
he done?
that was more in the one days, I think, rather than test matches.
No, in the one days, but he used to save us all the time.
Yeah. And you know who
Yeah.
else used to save us? And when was Gilchrist.
Gilchrist.
Yeah, he was like,
How many
He's a
times
guy.
did that bloke save us? Can you imagine, like, as an opposition team, you're 6 down, you just got your 6th wicket, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, aren't you? And then
Yeah.
Gilchrist walks out. You know, and potentially going to make 250 runs. So, yeah.
hey
so,
boys, as we wrap up on the cricket stuff, because we've got a bit of an agenda going, I don't know. I just want to put this forward. Did anyone see the image of Sticks Kernahan at the Carlton ground with Voss and Patrick Cripps? And just wanted to see what your thoughts were from a PR perspective. I thought that was pretty clever to have the great man Sticks there.
Yeah, 100%. You got 2 great captains and one who should be a great captain, but he's not yet. No, it was a great PR. Yeah, definitely get them all up there walking across the ground. That was a good photo. That definitely.
Yes, it's amazing how they keep going back to the well and keep getting back the old champion Carlton players to come back and provide a good photo opportunity. It's
I think
they
should.
I actually put that forward. I put that forward because I was like, "Are we getting hoodwinked?" Which Rocco famously made for 2021.
we will only know that like in round 5 or 6 if we've been hoodwinked, you know. But I don't know what Sticks was doing there. So is it just him walking past, or I don't know what he's doing there, but. Yeah, it was just a photo opportunity. Look, they're doing the right things. They're putting out the photos. They're getting everyone excited. Look, I'm even starting to get excited. So it's starting to work on me too. So
good.
Forward to the year. Yeah. So once we beat this England side 3-1.
By the way, Rocco, I just wanted to apologise. I've just checked up on the Australian team. You're 100% right. It was Travis Head who did get the nod over Usman Khawaja, and right. Cameron Green as well from Western Australia, the young player. He's due to come in at number 6. I really do wonder.
I like Green. Green's good.
Yeah.
And
you're right. If Marcus Harris and if David Warner doesn't play well, it puts a lot of pressure on Labuschagne and Smith to keep the innings together, doesn't it? Because Travis Head and Cameron Green are relatively young, and then you've got the wicket keeper in Carey, and then the bowlers. So, there's not a strong underbelly to our batting lineup, is there?
I think it's one of our weaker batting lineups for a long time. If you think about it, as I said, Warner, Harris, I don't trust. Warner's, like I hope he makes, like he played well in the 2020, so he looks like he's in form, but this is a different form. But as you said, outside of the next 2. All of a sudden, man, you're going to put pressure on this Head, Green, Carey, and then Cummings, the captain. He's going to have pressure all of a sudden on him when he comes in. And really, Cummings, he started. I remember his career. He batted okay, and then he really's fallen away. Stark's going to try to hit a couple of 6s, and he'll be gone. And then Lyon and Hazelwood. So, yeah, no, it's not a strong lineup, but in saying that, I don't see England doing anything. Their lineup's even worse, I think. But it's an Ashes, so I'm excited.
Love the Ashes. Very good. Look,
Oh.
we've lost Vince. I think Vince
That's all
is he'll
We
come
can
back.
take
Let me
over.
just get him back in. Here we go. He's back.
Sorry about that, boys. It happens every week. For some reason, the phone just cuts me off after about an hour.
I
I've
just heard-
got a good idea of why your phone would get cut out, but that's
Is that
that's
right?
for another.
It's probably because it's saying that the viewers have had more than enough of looking at my ugly head.
You're the star of the show. Star.
Oh,
of the
don't be,
I
don't
reckon,
be
I reckon
silly.
it's ASIO that's cutting you off because of your comments on vaccines.
Oh, you mean? Oh, is that what it is? Oh, I thought it might have been the Carlton Football
Possibly.
Club's PR department. Anyway,
Possibly.
I think Rocco, the England lineup. You mentioned Root, but I think that there are some other players that have got a fair bit of talent. And look, I know that these guys have been around for a while, but if they're bowlers like James Anderson and Stuart Broad, who have been around for a while now, if they can, if they're pretty decent bowlers. If they can find a way through our batting lineup, who knows what damage they might be able to
that's
do.
it. So they've got a stronger bowling lineup than they have batting lineup. That's for sure. So their bowling is all right. Look, for sure, man. If they can run through the first,
Rory Burns is not a bad.
Yeah, Rory
batsman.
Burns is all right.
And Josh Butler.
Yeah. No. Look, they're a decent side. I think it's actually quite an even matchup. Is to tell you the truth, it's going to be like an even matchup. Like I think home ground advantage. I think we should do it, but it's going to be.
I was just thinking that home ground advantage probably.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like Warner, he's had a terrible like every time he leaves Australia, he's had a terrible time lately. But back here, the ball plays differently. There's a lot more room. I think, as you said, if Warner gets away, anything can happen. All of a sudden, it's the pressure's taken on Harris. Because he's slow, Harris. So if he can just slowly accumulate 20 or 30 runs, you never know what happens there. And then the other two, and then you got Smith, which I still think is probably the best batsman in the world still. So you got him. He'll get us out of trouble.
Now, just to finish up on cricket, we've just seen the start of the BBL tournament. That's started already, and what have we got there? We've already seen nearly 15 overs gone in the first innings with the Sydney Sixers at 1 for 152. That's pretty much 10 runs and over so far against the Melbourne Stars at the Sydney Cricket Ground. So that'd have to be very hard to toss there. I mean, that's going to be a pretty huge total for the Melbourne Stars to have to overtake, you would think, by the time that game's over.
Yeah, well, if you got 10 and over, if you're chasing 10 and over by the end of it, man, that's tough because as soon as you
only one down, Rocco, so they've got plenty of wickets in hand. They might be able to get well over 200 here.
Yeah. So then once you're doing that, you have a couple of slow overs, and then all of a sudden you're chasing 12, 13, 14 and over. It's a tough ask there. So there you go.
Well, you've got James Vince has already been. He's the only wicket down for 44 off only 29 deliveries. Yeah. Josh Philippe, he's made 83 runs from only 46 deliveries, and Moises Henriques, 62 not out after 33 balls. So they are absolutely smashing them, aren't they? In fact, I've got a bigger update here. 1 for 192 after 18 overs.
Yeah, they'll definitely get over 200 there. There you go. So what do you think about this 2020? Come on. What do you think? Like, this is really, it's bastardizing the game. Don't you reckon?
Well, I reckon you're sort of like framing us to think in a particular way, Mr. Rocco. So,
you're a traditionalist. You're a traditionalist, Rocco. You're a traditionalist,
exactly
but a lot of people would say you got to get with the times, and people are consuming this. It's all about how you market the sport and how people respond to what they're being given. I think Test cricket, you're right. There's no more pure form of cricket than Test cricket, and there's nothing more enthralling than a fantastic tight contest over 5 days. But in terms of marketability and getting crowds and getting all of that, it's always a battle to try and get people to stay with it over 5 days. People tend to want that quick, short, sharp bit of satisfaction, watch a game over a couple of hours and it's all over.
And look, I've been,
It's
don't
all
get me
about
wrong,
the
I've been
attention
to a few
span.
games.
Yeah.
All about the attention span.
Yeah,
Of
You know, in the
course, I've
70s,
been to
we
a
used to
few
listen to
games,
6
3
minutes
hours,
long.
it's over. You know what I mean? It's all good. You know, you get to see the fireworks. You know, like the kids love it. My son loves it.
and the music comes on when there's a wicket
music
and
comes
all that
on.
sort of stuff. Yeah, all that
No,
jazz. Yeah.
it's good. No, it's good for all the babies around. No, that's all right. You just can watch that. I'll stick to my cricket.
By the
No,
way,
listen,
Josh
watch
Phillippe
it.
just
I do
got
watch
out, by the way. He just got out for 83 off 47 balls. So they're now 2 for 192 off 18.1 overs. So Dan Christian's just come in and looks like they're pretty much guaranteed to get at least 210, roughly about
This
that.
is going to be it'll be a good chase. That's a good chase. Chasing 200, you know, there's going to be some fireworks one way or the other.
Well, the big disadvantage, if you haven't heard the news for the Melbourne Stars, is that their star from the T20 tournament over there in the United Arab Emirates, where Rash was given the opportunity but declined the opportunity to go and watch the World Cup final. But Marcus Stoinis, one of the stars from the Stars, the Melbourne Stars, is not playing tonight. So that's going to be a big disadvantage for them in chasing down over 200 runs.
Yeah, look, I'm going to call it now. It's all over.
Yeah, the Sixers won't. It'll be very hard to toss.
Man, you have a couple of bad, even if you have a couple of bad overs in the middle of the innings, and all of a sudden that total starts to go 12, 13, 14 runs, and then you're just hoping for the best.
Yeah, that's
Rocco's calling the fat lady sing. She's singing. She's doing surprises.
Hey, by the way, Rocco, what does it mean with these world rankings? The New Zealand cricket team are meant to be the #1 test team, and yet they're over in India at the moment, and they've lost the first test. And in the second test, India made 325 in their first innings. New Zealand, 62. And then in the second innings, India's made 7 declared for 276. So they've got a total of 601 runs for their 2 innings. So New Zealand 62 in their first innings. They needed 540 runs to win in their second innings, and they're now 2 for 50.
Yeah, no,
boys,
and yet New Zealand are meant to be the #1 team in the world. Come on, give me a spell.
I don't know about these rankings, the way they do it, but India's a tough gig, man. Not many people win India, but I didn't know that. That's a massive.
I should mention, by the way, that the only thing that was definitely worth celebrating from a New Zealand point of view is that for only the 3rd time in the history of the game, their spin bowler, in fact, for any bowler, took all 10 Indian wickets in their first innings of 325.
There you go.
No way.
Can you believe that?
Boys.
In the Indian innings, young Patel, who's only about 26 years of age, I think. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, he took all 10 wickets. 3rd time in history.
That's
amazing performance.
That is an amazing.
Boys, you know, my bag is not really cricket, and I've been listening to you guys, and because I haven't been into cricket since Hayden and Warne and that sort of era, personally. We're heading towards the hour, and I know we've got another guest that's waiting in the room.
That's all right.
Into the racing, but can I just segue it before we go into racing? There was something I wanted to mention. Till the 2 Italians started talking for ages. I want to talk about the numbers.
Yes.
What do you guys think about the numbers of the Carlton numbers that have been handed down? Do you guys know that who's been given the numbers?
Yeah, I had a quick look. The numbers. Yeah. So what were they?
Oh,
again?
this is huge news. I mean, this is certainly worth interrupting a cricket segment to talk about the numbers on the Carlton players' backs.
Come
Rash.
on, boys. You've
I
been
mean,
talking
give me a
cricket
spell.
like for 25
Well, I know.
minutes.
I mean, one of the most incredible things that's ever happened in the history of cricket in the last 7 days is that young bowler, Axar Patel. What's his name? Not Axar Patel.
Yeah, but it's New Zealand.
What's
Let's
that?
talk Aussies. That's New Zealand. Let's
His
talk
name
Aussies.
is no. Don't be silly. Yeah, Ajaz Patel, 47.5 overs. Rocco, 12 maidens, 10 for 119.
That's
Wow.
That's averaging
you get 10
12
wickets.
runs per
As you said,
wicket,
it's only happened 3 times. Yeah, so that's a good effort, man. That's
and at an
something
average
to
of
get
only
up.
12 runs per wicket. That is an
That's
amazing
pretty good.
achievement.
That's,
Mm.
that's
That's
a
great.
domination.
Anyway,
That
yes. What do you want to talk about the numbers on the Carlton players' backs? Well,
I
I'll
want
tell
to
you,
talk about the
I reckon
numbers. I wanna start-
Cheryl will get number 5, and the other ones I don't really care about.
All right, so let me tell
Well,
you. Cheryl's number
we care
5.
about. Wait a sec. We do care about.
I'm only joking.
Care about Corey
Cheryl's number
Durden.
5. The Sudanese guy, I forget his name. He's number
Yes.
14. He's taken Liam Jones's number.
Yeah.
And Corey Durden, he's gone from 29 to 19, I think.
And why do you
Correct.
think you did that?
Probably Eddie Betts. I think it's a lower number, maybe, or whatever. But
Respectful, Eddie.
so he's our boy, Corey Durden. So
Mm-hmm.
he went to 19, and then the rest, whatever. What did the rest get? I don't know.
Well, then you've got Hewitt, which is 29, I believe.
That's
He's
right. So
taken
he took 29,
Scotland.
Durden took 19. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got number 40, which is Motlop.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got 41, which is Lewis Young.
Okay. Well, there you
I
go.
thought young Jesse Motlop might have got Eddie Betts as number 19. Seeing
That's
he
what
was
I
an
would have thought
Indigenous
too.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Number's a number. You make your number. You know, number 43 was a shit ass number till our boy came there and made
That's
it.
true.
Which one?
Only-
Tudor-Fedes? Come
Oh.
on, that's very disrespectful to David Mackay. I mean, he was one of the
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
most
that's true,
champion
yeah,
talent
yeah.
players
That's
of all time.
No,
That's
100%.
David
You're
Mackay.
right. As always, the historian here is absolutely correct.
This is
David
true.
Mackay. All right.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
we could say Wayne Harms.
I
made
think you
37.
might want to pick on his mate. What about his mate, Ange Christou? He made number 39 something
Yeah,
worth buying a Guernsey for.
and Rash was right. Number 37.
And Wayne
Wayne,
Harms.
Yeah, so he made
And
that
obviously
number.
the most famous number 25, Jezza.
Yeah. But
I thought
as-
you were going to say Frank Marcassani. Then
Ah.
another great Italian.
No, but that number 25 went from
Or Brendan
Jezza,
Favola?
who was the greatest, but Favola definitely did that number proud.
Yeah,
Yes.
he did.
That's for sure.
All right, boys. Let's
Terrific.
move to the
Rocco?
next. Thanks for that.
Thanks
No
very
problem.
much for doing that, mate. And we'll certainly follow the Ashes with interest. And if we can get you back on in the next week or two before Christmas to give us a bit of an update on your thoughts and how the Aussies are going, that'd be great.
There'll be something to talk about. Trust me. Test cricket always puts up something. We're going to have something to talk about. Don't you worry
That's
about
for
that.
sure. That's
Rocco,
for sure.
final words before we get you off. Tell us again where we can find the jumper punch, what the deal is, and when you're going back on. For those who
So-
just joined us.
Anyone that doesn't know, just look up the Jumper Punch. It's on YouTube. It's on the Blue Broad channel. So it's coming on next Tuesday, the 14th. We have a Christmas special. Mars, Paolo, Rocco will get up and we'll have a look at some of the funny moments from the year. There was some heated moments during the year. So we're going to go through all that, have a bit of, I think Santa might make an appearance. We might get some reindeers in there. So yeah, as I said, we'll all get together and we'll just have a night out together. As always, there's going to be coffee and biscuits for everyone. So yeah, let's all get
Gingerbread
together.
biscuits.
Always, you know that we're always going to
There
have
you
some,
go.
we're always going
All
to
right,
have
Rocco.
Fantastic,
Thanks, my
Rob.
man. Thanks for jumping on last minute.
Thanks, guys,
Thank you.
and we'll speak soon.
We will
So-
indeed. That was the great Rocco Stagnetti, of course, from the Jumper Punch. And yes, if you can tune in on Tuesday week and have a look at their Christmas special, I'm sure it'll be very entertaining and certainly give you a bit of a laugh. All right. Now, we are going to move on in our next segment, which, of course, is the world of racing. And I think, have we got young Luke ready to
I've
go
got him in
yet
the
or
back
not?
room. I'll add him shortly.
Well,
but,
yeah, we will add him shortly. We've got one of Victoria's best harness racing callers, Luke Humphreys, joining us this evening. He's a friend of mine, and he's agreed to come on and not only give us a bit of a wrap of what's happened with the Inter-Dominion heats that have been held over the last 7 days, including the last 5 heats which were held this evening. In fact, I think the last one only got finished a matter of minutes ago. So no doubt Luke will get the highest points tallies for the various runners and give us a preview into the final, which will be held on Saturday next week, the 11th of December, at the Menangle track over there in New South Wales. So whenever you're ready to get Luke on, Rash, feel free to bring him on. Of
Luke.
course, what?
And there we are.
He is there. There you go. G'day, Luke.
How you going, boys? Good to be with you.
Nice to have you joining us this evening, and a young, fresh
Welcome.
face instead of us old bastards on this channel all the time.
Oh, yeah, well,
Talk for yourself.
Yeah, well,
yourself.
Now, of course, Luke's on the brink of his 21st birthday. Going to happen in the next, just over a month from now. But Luke, you've already been calling harness racing for Harness Racing Victoria for what, the last 3 years, roughly, isn't it?
yeah, it's nearly 3 years. Yeah, it goes quite quick, Vince. It's I don't know where all the time goes. I think I was having a conversation with you a couple of months ago, and I said to you, I've been doing this job for 18 months, and you said you've been doing this longer than 18 months. And yeah, I have been. It's over 2.5 years. So time goes very quick.
It does, but you'd be forgiven for
yeah.
losing. You'd be forgiven for losing track of time in this COVID world that we've been living in. It's almost been a bit of a time warp to some degree. Now, Luke, we thought we'd get you on to give us a bit of a wrap of what's happened in the world of harness racing in the last 7 days, and in fact, just wrap up the results of all of the heats and go through the points tally for each of the series. Of course, you've got the pacing series and the trotting series, because, of course, they're two different ways of trotting, aren't they? For those of you who don't know, there's two different gaits that the horses have. But so we saw the finals held during the week not the finals, the heats held at Bathurst on Wednesday night. And we also had a round of heats at Newcastle tonight. So I believe they've only just been completed in the last 10 minutes or so. But have you done the homework yet on who's made the finals and who hasn't?
I can tell you who has made the. In fact, now here we go. It's like it's actually a very good question, Vince, because the final field has just come up on the Sky Channel. So
is that right? Okay, right.
Yes, it's a very good question to ask at the perfect time. So the 12 paces that have qualified for the Inter-Dominion Grand Final for paces are King of Swing, Expensive Ego, Spirit of St. Louis, Alta Orlando, Max Delight, Triple Eight, Malcolm's Rhythm, Balraj, Bundoran, Majestic Cruiser, Bonsall Benjamin, and Our Uncle Sam, with Mark Dan, the first emergency, and the Black Prince, the second emergency. King of Swing, Expensive Ego have gone through their 3 rounds of heats unbeaten, so it's 16 points for winning a heat. So they've gone through their 3 rounds of heats unbeaten, so they're equal.
Both on 48.
Yeah. Spirit of St. Louis is then on 40. Alta Orlando 34. Max Delight, Triple Eight, Malcolm's Rhythm, all on 33. Balraj 32. Bundoran is 9th on 31. Majestic Cruiser 10th on 30. Bonsall Benjamin 11th on 28. Our Uncle Sam 12th on 26, and he gets in ahead of Mark Dan, who's the emergency, on 25 with the second emergency, the Black Prince on 24. So that's the 12 for the paces.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't got the final.
Well, let's just, before we go on to the trotters, why don't we just have a look at the results of those heats that were held, first of all, on Wednesday night, because we went over the heat results last week on last week's show for the first round at Menangle, round one. So round two was held, of course, on Wednesday night. And of course, that was at Bathurst. Wednesday, the 1st of December. So we had the pacing heats take place, and the first one was won by Expensive Ego, 888 second, and the Black Prince third. That was a pretty impressive victory by Expensive Ego, and it looks like he's followed up again and won his heat tonight as well at Newcastle.
Yeah, he has. Well, in that first heat on Wednesday night, he drew one from the outside on the front row in barrier 7, which, was a pretty wide barrier, but he was eventually able to get to the front after being 3 wide for the first half of the race and get to the front about 800 metres from home, and he was able to prove too good. For 888, which was a very nice second, was able to get in behind them, had barrier 1, did 888 in that round 2 heat on Wednesday night. Of course, the horse for Greg Sugars and Jess Tubbs, and he was behind the leader and then worked off the pegs and ran a very nice second, I thought. He was actually never really extended and just cruised to the line for a very nice second. The Black Prince was able to get to the lead and then hand up to Expensive Ego at halfway and ran third. Majestic Cruiser was getting home well for fourth, and they were well clear of the others. Pocket of Terror didn't have much luck. Reactor Now wasn't too bad, but Expensive Ego was too good, quite frankly.
Now, of course, the interesting thing about betting on these sorts of races when they're competing in a series where they've just got to score enough points to make the final is that they're not necessarily you would think that they'd love to win the race, but you'd think that in some circumstances it's not the be-all and end-all, so the drivers might be quite satisfied in just running second and third. So you've got to be careful when you're betting on these sorts of races, don't you?
For sure. And, I think if you watch a few of these heats that have taken place, a few of these drivers have been quite easy on their horses. And look, I think that's a pretty there's nothing untoward towards that, because the Inter-Dominion for harness racing, they have to go around 4 times in a fortnight, and 3 times in a week for the 3 rounds of heats. So at least they get a 6 day break before the final, which hopefully freshens them up to run to their capacity on the night of the final. But the 3 heats within what, 8 or 9 days to start the series with, that must take a fair bit out of them. Well, I think you want to get an easy run somewhere in one of those 3 rounds of heats. You probably don't want to do so much work, which is not necessarily what we've seen from the 2 favourites. I think they've been driven extremely aggressively. Expensive Ego and King of Swing, which is, for a 3,000 metre final, they've had 3 pretty hard runs in, 8 days. I'm not sure if the hard runs have been given necessary, to be honest. That's just my opinion, which makes me really lean towards a horse like 888, which I think Greg Sugars has just nursed through the 3 heats and driven perfectly, looking towards a 3,000 metre final. But I think you do want to get an easy run in there somewhere, because with the time standardbreds are running these days, and it's not like 30, 40 years ago where the times aren't as brilliant as today.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how they've been able to get so quick in recent years. The second of the heats on the Wednesday night at Bathurst was won by Spirit of St. Louis, a very impressive victory. Paid pretty well too, $7.80 and $3.30. $7.80 for the win, $3.30 for the place. Defeating a very gallant Alta Orlando and Malcolm's Rhythm, the Victorian free-for-all horse, which has won a few country cups. He seems to have performed pretty well in this series as well, coming third. So that was the second of the heats. And the third of the heats was King of Swing, the pin-up boy, the favourite for the series, $1.40, beating Bonsell Benjamin, which was a gallant second at $1.60. Max Delight, the Victorian horse, finished third with $2.30. And, of course, Max Delight started favourite in tonight's heat, didn't he, at Menangle? Not Menangle, at Newcastle, I should say.
He did.
How did he perform tonight?
He was beaten in the first round of heats, or the first heat tonight for round 3. He was able to get to the lead and never really got much of a breather in front from barrier 2. And
Right.
The horse that drew barrier 1 had the perfect sit behind him, was able to come off his back and beat him right on the line. The
Right.
Turnbull driven Bundoran. So
That's probably the reason why Bundoran's qualified, is it?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah, and he
Because
wasn't far away on the first and second nights, 6th on night 1, 5th on night 2. But no doubt the victory tonight has helped him get in for sure.
So Max Delight, who came 4th in his first heat, 3rd in the second heat, 2nd tonight, he's building up to being first on the final night, isn't he?
Well, possibly. In saying that, I think he was going better around Victoria Cup time, to be honest.
Right.
He had every chance to get past King of Swing the other night.
Right.
And he got past him in the Victoria Cup when King of Swing did a lot of work. Well, King of Swing did a lot of work in that race the other night. He wasn't able to get past him. And, yeah, he copped a bit of pressure tonight, but he still didn't win. I think he's going to have to go a little bit better to win the final.
So he actually held the lead tonight. I thought he might have handed up to Spirit of St. Louis, number 3, but he obviously didn't.
Spirit of St. Louis was eased at the start and came with one run at them. In fact, he was the first horse home that wasn't on the pegs, Spirit of St. Louis. So he looked to have every chance. But when you look at it from the perspective that he was the first horse home that wasn't against the inside, it actually was probably a better run than what I first gave it credit for. Because the one thing with these heats at Newcastle tonight is that if you're not on the pace, you forget it.
No chance.
No chance.
Nothing was coming from back in the field.
Well, there may have been horses make ground, but they definitely haven't won or run second. Put it that way.
So King of Swing wins his heat again. So third one in a row. Very impressively, $1.20 for the win. Very skinny odds. Belraj obviously drawing the pole. It looks like if you've drawn the pole, you're at a very big advantage. We've seen a number of horses have their best result when they've drawn one. And in fact, Triple Eight's finished third. He drew barrier 1 last week and came second. So,
and he was barrier 1 on the second.
And he was barrier work. Yeah, that's right. So again, probably a predictable trifecta, 5, 1, and 9.
Well, possibly, yeah. For those that from a speed maps perspective, when people do speed maps and look for who's going to get the nice run, possibly that were the 3 horses that you looked as being leader behind leader. Triple Eight was drawn behind Belraj, who was behind the leader, which was King of Swing after a couple of 100 metres. But Triple Eight did not hold the back of Belraj. He had no early speed at all. From the inside second draw and was crossed by horses that slotted in front of him. So he ended up being actually 5 back on the inside, not 3 back the inside behind Belraj. But he was still able to work home and run a really creditable flip. But when you look at the ground he lost at the start because he just had no early speed, maybe he should have possibly finished a little bit closer if he held a bit more ground at the start, Vince.
Very good.
And Ultra Orlando was a little bit disappointing for mine.
Fair enough.
Your favourite.
Still made the final on the strength of his 2 second placings in his first 2 heats.
Sure.
And again, that's probably all they need to do. So that's a good example of maybe not pushing it too far. He's already qualified. What's the point of giving him a gut buster in the lead up to the final? And the third heat there tonight, Expensive Ego again.
Well,
great.
Talking about gut busters, this one's had a gut buster.
Right, sounds like this was the one that had a lot of pressure up front.
Well, King of Swing did as well, but the thing is that he didn't necessarily cop pressure from anyone. But he ran a very fast time of 151.5 for 2,030 metres, which is.
Now, did we see it? Did we see the track record get broken there tonight at Newcastle?
In the King, Bundoran broke it in the first heat by 0.2 of a second, I think, with 153.2. And then that lasted for about half an hour. because King of Swing went 151.5.
And what about Expensive Ego's time? What was that in comparison to King of Swing?
A lot slower, 154.3. But he had to do a lot of work early. The first quarter was 27.7 over the 2,000 metres. And then he backed it off in the second stanza and got a breather of 31.5 before coming home in 28.8 and 27.2. But he had to work very hard, Expensive Ego. They really made him work for it, but he was too good.
So do you think he'll be the second favourite for the final, considering he's won all three of his heats, or do you think something else might challenge King of Swing?
No, well, King of Swing and Expensive Ego are the only two horses in single figures before the barrier draw, of course, which is tomorrow night at 7:30. I think you'll find. So a
lot will depend on barrier draws, won't it?
Yeah, well, no doubt these prices I'm about to read out will change after the barrier draw's done. King of Swing is at 210. He's the 11-10 favourite in the old. Expensive Ego is 2-1 or $3, and then it's 12 for Spirit of St. Louis, 14 for Max Delight, 15 for Majestic Cruiser and Malcolm's Rhythm, who I thought was disappointing tonight. He did not run on Malcolm's Rhythm, and I thought he was entitled to do better than third last. Ultra Orlando's at 20-1. Bonsall Benjamin's at 25-1. 888 is tremendous value. That'll be the horse I'm backing at 25-1. That is tremendous value. And then you got the Black Prince, the second emergency at 31. Balraj at 41. Mark Dan, the Mildura Cup winner, the first emergency at 50-1. Bundoran at 70-1. And our Uncle Sam, who was a massive run into second tonight at 100-1. And of course, this is the horse that in the last Australian Inter Dominion ran second, where you can get 101 for him. And
so he came second 2 years ago. So our Uncle Sam came second 2 years ago, was it?
No, 3 years ago, because the last Inter Dominion 2 years ago was in New Zealand. So in the last Australian Inter Dominion 3 years ago, this horse came second, and he's 100-1. And he ran
he's come second in the heat tonight. It must have been massive odds for the place.
He was 100-1 tonight. He was a big run as well, and of course he ran second in his last heat before running second in the final 3 years ago. So
might be the Smoky. Might be the Smoky. You never know.
Might be the maybe, but
that's a tremendous wrap of the heats over the last 7 days. There was a lot to get through there with the paces. What about the trotters? Can we quickly go through the results of the trotters both on Wednesday night and tonight?
Yeah,
just give us in a very condensed form. Just give us the winners and the field for next Saturday night.
So Timothy Red won the first heat on Wednesday night in round 2. He had a lovely run behind the leader and used the sprint lane to score and beat Maori Law, which is a very game second, and Pink Alar's third, Humble Lad fourth. And then A Lot of Muscle won the second of the 2 heats in round 2 on Wednesday night, had a nice run and was able to beat Just Believe by a neck. Tough Monica, very game third. The big disappointment was the New Zealand horse, Majestic Man. Very disappointing. Tonight, what has happened tonight? We've had the 2 heats tonight in round 3 for the trotters, and the first of those went to Maori Law. Vince had a very easy run in front, dashed home in 27.1 for his last 400, which is pretty good going for a trotter. Pink Alar's was a very good run after sitting park. Caligula didn't get much luck behind the leader. Majestic Man was a much better run. He was 4th and made a bit of ground off a slow tempo, so I wouldn't necessarily be writing him off. Tough galloped about half the straight. And then the Penny Drops won the second heat, beating Kai Valley Chief and Just Believe, who were both very good. And then came in along Stardust and an unlucky Lot of Muscle. But the Penny Drops... And I should mention that the Penny Drops was a horse that you had earmarked before the series even started, Luke. Yeah, I've had I'm not going to say how much money I've had on air. I've had a little bit of money on the horse.
You've had 50 cents each way on it, have you?
Just a bit, yeah.
We might have to get Rash to put a few pesos on for us.
You guys are talking Japanese at the moment. I'm just listening in and out. But boys, I've got to go in about 5 minutes.
No, that's all right. Have we got Beachy on yet?
No.
Oh, he hasn't come back. Neither has Steve. I can tell you, boys, that the guys that usually are on with me every week, Steve Katib and Chris Beach, both went to the Melbourne Victory soccer game tonight. at Amy Park to watch Melbourne Victory against Perth Glory. And boys, it just goes to show you it's not worth missing out on this show for anything because Perth Glory happened to beat them 3-0. So that wouldn't have been a very nice experience for them. So anyway, we'll have to catch up with them next week and talk about that. But we will wrap up in a second, Rash. So Luke, let's just quickly go through the names of the horses in the field for the trotting Inter-Dominion final next Saturday night, and who you think's going to win?
Well, the Penny Drops, who was 30-1 before the first heat, just on a week ago, is now the favourite for the final, Vince.
There you go. Wow.
So he's the favourite. Pink Galaz is at $4.20. Maori Law $4.50. Majestic Man at $6. Timothy Red had a much tougher barrier draw tonight. He had all the luck in the first. Well, he was still very good winning the first two heats, but he had a much easier run, and he never looked a chance tonight. So he might need everything to go his way still. Tough Monarchs at 11. Humble Lad 15. Lot of Muscle 18. Kai Valley Chief 26. Caligula 51. Illawong Stardust 51. Just Believe 61. Could be overs, depending on the barrier draw, of course, which is tomorrow. It's 100 to 1 of the two emergencies, Elderberry and Crescent, one Magic Kenny. So they're the 12 and the two emergencies for the trot. But the Penny Drops is the favourite. So,
There you go. So that's obviously your tip for the final then.
Absolutely, it is. Yep.
It was before the series started. So why would it change now? It's performed very well.
For the paces, I would probably have to say 888 at the value of 25 to 1 at the moment. If he gets a nice run in the final, we saw him beat Home King of Swing in the Victorian Cup. He's had a much easier run compared to the two favourites so far in the 3 rounds of heat. So at 25 to 1, I would have to say 888 for Greg Sugars in the final would be my tip at the moment.
Wow. Okay. Well, going against the two favourites who haven't lost the heat. I happen to think King of Swing will win. It doesn't matter where it draws. But in the Trotters final, I do like Maori Law. I think Maori Law might just be building up to something pretty good. So anyway, we'll report back next week after the finals occurred on the Saturday night.
We will, absolutely.
Thanks, Luke, for joining us tonight, mate. Really appreciate that.
Thanks, boys.
And we'll catch up next Sunday, and we'll have a new Inter-Dominion champion by then, or two new ones, one for the Pacers and one for the Trotters.
We will. Thanks for having us on, guys. It's been great to come on the program.
Good on you, Luke. Luke Humphreys from Harness Racing Victoria.
Thanks,
great race caller. If anyone who hasn't heard him call a race before, very, very talented caller. All right. Rash, just going to finish up just on one last report, and that is for the golf. I'll be very quick. If I can bring it up on my screen here. Yeah. Where are you, Vince? Have I got it? I've lost it. No, I haven't. Here it is. Rash, we've seen in the last few days, we've got the final coming up tonight, or basically tomorrow morning, Melbourne time. And it's the tournament, which is an invitation-only type tournament, basically called the Hero World Challenge, which is an invitational tournament that Tiger Woods holds and hosts every year. So he's invited only the 20 golfers to take place in this particular tournament. And the hottest golfer going around at the moment, Colin Morikawa from America. He is in front by 5 strokes. He's 18 under par after 3 rounds, after an 8 under third round of 64, following up his first 2 rounds of 68 and 66. Hard to see him getting beaten. Brooks Koepka is in second position on 13 under. Patrick Reed, Tony Finau, and Bryson DeChambeau are following those boys. So Brooks Koepka, I should say, is on 13 under. Patrick Reed on 12 under. Tony Finau on 12 under. Bryson DeChambeau, who was in front after 2 rounds, had a disappointing 1 over 73 in the third round, so he's dropped to 5th. can't see anyone else catching Colin Morikawa. So that'll be very interesting to watch the final round coming up this morning for you golf enthusiasts who follow the US PGA Tour. It's fantastic to watch. These guys, Rash, are so brilliant at hitting the golf ball. Seriously, they can almost hit it to within 5 or 6 feet of where they want it to go every time. And how they do it, I don't know. But it's really a sight to see. And, of course, these golf courses that they play on, some of the most picturesque golf courses all around the world. So certainly over there in the Bahamas, where they're playing at the moment, it's a sight to see.
Great.
We're not going to talk much about soccer. I've just given you a report on the Melbourne Victory game, 3-0. But I'll get Stevie to come on next week and give us a roundup of all of the soccer results. The English Premier League's been going over the last few days. West Ham had an upset win over Chelsea, 3-2. So there's been some movement at the top of the English Premier League ladder. There's also been some action in Spain and Italy and Germany, and in France as well. So those major leagues are all hotting up. So we'll talk more about that next week. It's been a very full program tonight. So I think we've probably done and dusted. Thanks, mate, for filling in for Chris Beach and for Steve. We'll hope to get them on next week.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to fill in where I need to. It's been a great show, full packed of stuff. I've got a lot of education today, which is great. Thank you.
That's all right. Even in sports that you don't have much interest in, Rash.
That's true.
All right, everyone.
It's been a great show.
Thanks very much to you, and thanks to you out there for watching. Hope you enjoyed the program, and until we have another program in the summer series of Blue Sunday, next Sunday evening at 8 o'clock, have a great week, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.